Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another StarCraft commentary done by myself, Frank, and Image is alongside as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zerg versus Zerg here coming up. Samsung Con versus MBC. This is going to be set 1. We've got Great coming in here taking on Peace. Peace representing MBC and Great representing Samsung Con. And Great we have here spawning in blue as the as a Zerg player on Heartbreak Ridge on the right side of the map, and on the left side we have the white Zerg. That's going to be Peace. Great is a phenomenal player. I've seen a lot of great games from him, no pun intended. And we have Peace here as well. He's a newer player, and his record actually isn't that great. But some of these newer players, you know, they always want to make a great showing. They always have that going for them, that just adrenaline, that push. Just you want to make a good showing for your team so that they'll put you in more televised games, and you'll just work your way up the ladder that way. So he does have that going for him. However, in this matchup, I gotta say, I mean, Great is just a phenomenal player. Image alongside. What's your take on this matchup?
My take on this is kind of like you said. Great has to be the favorite here. He is a fairly strong player. Zerg versus Zerg is his weakest matchup, but that's still 52% against, I think, much stiffer opposition than he's going to face here. And yeah, to speak a little bit about Peace, he has a pretty weak record up until this point. On the day we're doing this cast, his record sits at 2-6 in televised games, so there might be a bit of a mild spoiler there if you are a diehard Peace fan that keeps track of these kind of things. And there's a certain element of unpredictability with all of these new players, because they, yeah, you can never really tell whether their bad play is because they're bad players or whether they're suffering from nerves. And just looking at the builds here, it looks like a quick 12 hatchery going down for Peace. So he's doing something a little bit ballsy here, playing for the economic advantage on a 2-player map, and it looks like a 12 pool going up for Great on the other side of the map. So interesting deviation right off the bat, and it should lead to some exciting play down the track.
Yep, and at this point I would say economically, this is actually kind of a little bit strange, because usually what you have is one player has more Zerglings out quicker and the other player has a better economy going for them because they get their Overlord up and more drones, or perhaps an extra hatchery like we see here. However, actually, if you noted this, Great actually went for a gas before spawning pool, which at this point isn't making sense because he's actually only got 2 drones on gas. So you would think that he would just want that tech advantage. He is getting that layer up, however, quite a bit earlier than Peace is. However, it's usually like I was saying earlier, is usually what you see is those Zerglings coming out, and whoever gets those Zerglings out later is actually ahead, because they can still defend, but they have a better economy. So at this point, I think it's just going to warp a little bit into the later game, where Peace is going to have his Mutalisks out a little bit later, but his economy is going to be quite a bit better. And we do see a Sunken Colony also going up here on the front door. 2 Zerglings coming in for Great. Maybe a little bit of a fake here. Yeah, I think that was a fake, just to force that Sunken Colony to go down. But I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, considering the economic advantage has already been had.
I'm actually very surprised that Peace committed to putting that Sunken Colony down, because he saw how many Zerglings Great produced, and there are only 2 of them out in front of his base, and Peace had his own Zerglings following along shortly thereafter. I think that was a bit of an overreaction, and that's going to take a little dent out of the economic advantage that Peace gained through that 12 hatchery build. So that's a move that I'm a little bit dubious of. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Spire's going up for Great, and still no sign of it yet for Peace, though it should follow along quite shortly. There it is now.
Yeah, so Great, like I was saying before, he is going to have Mutalisks up a little tiny bit earlier. He does have that second gas going up as well, and I believe, I can't see it here, yeah, on the minimap it does look like, yeah, Peace is getting up that gas as well, so both these players are going to be in pretty much the exact same economic position. I think that Great has been using a lot of his large larva, though, to produce drones at this point in time, whereas Peace has been producing quite a bit of lings. If you look at the ling count for Great, I think he's actually only got 8 lings out on the field right now. He does have speed upgraded, however. I'm not sure what the point of that is. He's also got a sunken creep colony going up. Probably most likely to be producing a sunken colony to help fend off these Zerglings, because there are quite a few of them actually. If you look, there's probably about a control group and a half, if not more, for Peace. So I think Peace, there's also the possibility that his nerves might be getting to him at this point. If you saw him, he was breathing quite a bit heavy, or quite a bit heavier than Great was, and he looks a little bit nervous, so that might also be playing a factor here, just playing a little bit defensive, not really going for the push. However, he is streaming across the map now. Lings are out enough for Great, but we're going to see a push here, try to break here, and if he can get in here, he might just win the game.
Great's got a pretty good defensive arc, but he has got fewer Zerglings. That sunken colony is going to contribute to the defense, but it looks a little tenuous now. Great is now in some pretty serious danger as that sunken is down, though his Mutalisks pop just in time to clean this up with minor damage. But Great lost a bunch of drones as well as all of his lings defending that, and that is going to put the impetus on him. He's going to have to do some damage with these faster Mutalisks, and some pretty substantial damage at that, or else Peace is going to get pretty far ahead.
Yeah, and it looks like Peace is using that advantage of the economics and using also the Zergling run-through to force these Mutalisks to stay at home while he picks off an Overlord. So that's going to set Great even farther behind. A little bit unexpected, I'm not going to lie. We both expected Great to just pull out ahead on this one, but Peace found that early economic advantage. Oh, there we go. Almost picking off another drone with a single Zergling, not getting it done. But he did also deny mining at that second base for a little while. Some Scourge are produced. I think that's 6 Scourge produced for Great, so we're going to have to see if he can possibly land some of those Scourge. And like I've said in some of my previous CVZs, is as soon as you see a Zerg player produce a whole bunch of Scourge, you know that he's a little bit on the back foot because he needs to land Scourge rather than just out Mutalisk micro, or out-produce their opponent.
This is going to be a good test for the new player Peace, because he's going to have to show some pretty good Mutalisk micro to avoid all of those Scourge, and that'll be a good way to appraise his level of skill, because Mutalisk micro is something that's just very important in any Zerg versus anything matchup, so that'll be something to watch once this air battle occurs, and it looks like that's about to happen right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Great actually was given the opportunity to just hold position there and pick off a bunch of Scourge. If you notice, he wasn't even microing around there. He just picked off a whole bunch of Scourge, and I think a lot of his landed as well. Possibly even just 3 or 4 of them had landed there, but that's enough to send those Mutalisks flying back home. Not to mention, though, at this point, I think Great does have a little tiny bit of an advantage here in Mutalisks, and he's got that tiny little window where he can just rush in and do as much damage as possible. He's going to stand around here, pick off some Overlords. I don't think that's necessarily what he wants to be doing right now. I think he wants to go in for the economic harass. And here comes another air battle coming in. Oh, a whole bunch of Scourge. Oh, even more Scourge landing in on Great's Mutalisks, so setting him even farther behind here. He's going to try to pick off some Overlords while Peace just tries to produce, and Peace is showing a little bit of his Mutalisk micro here, and he is picking off those Scourge as he moves along. So I guess like you were saying, he is kind of just showing his grit, showing what he's got, and it looks like he might just take this match down right now.
Yeah, he's got a much larger clump of Mutalisks. I also liked Peace's move of putting one Mutalisk in the mineral line to harass Great's drones while all this was going on. There's the GG. And yeah, pretty impressive showing by the new guy here. Peace going to get some high fives from his team, and another of his first televised victories.
Yeah, pretty sweet victory for Peace, especially against somebody like Great. Great not looking too pleased, but the MBC team cheering and being extremely excited for this new guy, Peace. But really good showing. We're going to move on to the next set, which is going to be Jangby versus Jaehoon and a PvP. We're going to see how that goes. I'm actually really looking forward to it. Haven't seen a Jangby game in quite some time here. Let's see if he's still in form. So GG on behalf of myself and Image.